he's had a real problem with Elon from the beginning of this thing. But it's like he's in this leftist thought bubble. He is in the most leftist thought bubble available, which is Hollywood. And, and I think also, he famously, there's some videos of him in blackface, and those came out, and he had apologized for them. And I think he took that hit and like really doubled down the other direction.
A $500 million haymaker has just been thrown directly at the jaw of late-night television, and the man on the receiving end is one of Hollywood's most celebrated jesters, Jimmy Kimmel. The news dropped like a bombshell, a legal declaration of war from President Trump so massive it sent immediate shockwaves through the entire entertainment establishment. As the chaos erupted, two of the media's most unfiltered voices, Joe Rogan and Megyn Kelly, wasted zero time diving into the fallout, and their reactions were nothing short of brutal. Rogan didn't just chuckle, he torched Kimmel like a washed-up open mic comic who forgot the punchline, while Kelly took a different approach, calmly carving through the layers of Hollywood smugness with the precision of a surgeon. This isn't just a simple roast, it's a televised public takedown, a chaotic unraveling of a man who built his career positioning himself as a moral authority. Now he's scrambling in real time, looking like he just realized the biggest joke of his career is the one that's on him.
How weak and pathetic is a guy like that? The Tonight Show, which is dying. They're all dying. Where's Johnny Carson? Bring back Johnny. It made you appreciate, right, Uncle Sam? It made you appreciate the greatness of Johnny Carson. I go on his show, and he goes, "Is that your real hair?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Do you mind if I mess it up?" So he grabs it, and he starts really going crazy, right? And everybody laughed, and it was a big thing, and it was a big hit. It was all over the place, and he got great ratings and all. And 6 months later, he went out because he was under pressure to apologize because he humanized.
Joe Rogan was already losing it before he even finished reading the headline. He leaned back in his chair, eyes wide with a mix of shock and pure, unadulterated joy, laughing so hard it looked like he'd just witnessed a kangaroo knock someone out in a championship ring. For Rogan, this wasn't some serious legal crisis. This was pure comedy gold, the kind of unbelievable story that writes itself. He kicked things off with an analogy that perfectly captured the sheer absurdity of the situation. Jimmy Kimmel getting hit with a $500 million lawsuit is like watching a house cat challenge a freight train to a street fight. It's bold, sure. It's stupid, definitely. But more than anything, it's delusional. Rogan couldn't contain his amusement as he called out Kimmel's deep-seated arrogance, describing his late-night act as the comedy version of a chihuahua yapping orders at a fully armed SWAT team. It's loud, it's relentless, but ain't nobody listening seriously. And now, that relentless yapping comes with a $500 million invoice attached, a price tag so high it could bankrupt a small nation.
Last night was the 96th Academy Awards show, and while you might have missed it, there was one clear winner. No, not Oppenheimer. It was sanctimonious leftists for their lead role in pretending they are better than you. Several people shared in this achievement. Winner number one, Jimmy Kimmel. For the fourth time, Kimmel hosted the Oscars before an adoring crowd of Hollywood stars who laughed and curried favor with the man who wore blackface so many times. Now, I will tell you, he's not the worst. The Daily Show has the worst ratings. They only have 366,000 people watching that show. During the Jon Stewart years, it was over 2 million. Now it's down to 300,000. Seth Meyers, absolutely dreadful. He doesn't even have 1 million, 778,000. I mean, for network television, this is, you don't have to pay for it. It's there when you turn on your TV. You plug it in. That's a dreadful number. Greg Gutfeld on cable, which you do have to pay for, it has more than double the numbers of Seth Meyers. Jimmy Kimmel, 1.5 million averaging, also equally horrible. And then there's The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, who back when I was there, 2017-18, he was averaging 2.3 million a night. Now he's down to 1.3 million, Jesse. And he cannot afford the "you are toxic" controversy because he's also pulling in reportedly over $15 million a year. So you got all that money for 1.5 million in audience, which is a nothing. I mean, the middle of the day on Fox News gets that. Or at least used to before the Tucker controversy.
But how did we even get here? To understand the explosion, you have to look at the years of kindling Kimmel himself laid down. For what felt like an eternity, he built his modern brand on a nightly, relentless stream of anti-Trump jabs. He wasn't just a comedian anymore. He was a political crusader operating from what Rogan correctly identified as the most leftist thought bubble available, which is Hollywood. He became the safe, sanitized voice of the so-called resistance, delivering punchlines that felt less like edgy comedy and more like network-approved talking points meticulously crafted in a writer's room. He had poked the bear day after day, year after year, seemingly convinced that his polished desk and a pre-warmed studio audience formed some kind of impenetrable force field. He forgot one crucial, terrifying detail: the bear he was relentlessly poking doesn't just tweet back. He owns skyscrapers, travels with a legal SWAT team, and has been fighting media wars longer than Kimmel has been relevant. This wasn't just about a few bad jokes. It was about a long simmering resentment toward a host who his critics say built his entire moral platform on a throne of glaring hypocrisy.
Jimmy Kimmel's a loser. I do Jimmy Kimmel. I did him a lot.
Yeah.
And he'd be standing on the sidewalk. "Oh, sir, may I bring you in?" He'd bring me in every time. The whole show is talking bad about Trump.
He called us doofuses when we had you on.
He's a group of doofuses in flat-brimmed hats.
Guess what? We
Ask
did
him how many.
what he did.
Ask him. Yeah, you do bigger. Yeah, you
Yeah.
do. His show's dying.
I mean, I struggle to even mention that guy's name. He's such an absolute, I can't stand him. But anyway, it's just my thought bubble out loud. We took a look at some of their reactions to the news of Trump's win. Look at this.
Hey there. How are you doing? If you watch the show regularly, I'm guessing you're not doing great. Yeah, me neither.
Let's be honest, it was a terrible night last night. It was a terrible night for women, for children, for the hundreds of thousands of hardworking immigrants who make this country go, for healthcare, for our climate. It was a terrible night for poor people, for our allies in Ukraine, for NATO.
And that hypocrisy is a story in itself. While Rogan was wiping tears of laughter from his eyes, another media giant across town was sharpening her scalpel. Megyn Kelly didn't come into the conversation loud and boisterous. She came in calm, cool, and devastatingly calculated. To her, this wasn't just chaos, it was karma in its purest form. She branded the lawsuit karmic comedy, the long overdue and inevitable curtain drop on a late-night jester who completely forgot his place in the kingdom. With surgical precision, Kelly dissected Kimmel's entire career arc, reminding everyone of a time when he was genuinely funny and unpredictable on The Man Show, a program filled with wild off-the-rails chaos and questionable skits. But that version of Jimmy, the one with an actual edge, is long gone. What's left, she argued, is a sanitized corporate mouthpiece, a polished shell of performative outrage who grew up to become the high school hall monitor and is now utterly confused why nobody is buying his tough guy act anymore. His comedy, she explained, had devolved into a lullaby, soft, recycled, and entirely forgettable. The only real risk involved was that his viewers might accidentally nod off before the second joke even landed. No bite, no challenge, just the illusion of bravery wrapped in a laugh track.
There's not a chance in hell that this is funny or gonna work. And when you see those flat, corny, late night monologue jokes with no audience, Colbert, there's Jimmy Kimmel, there's Fallon. What they're doing is just like reading off of a teleprompter. So a bunch of really good joke writers wrote them some stuff, and then they're playing to the audience, and the audience is like laughing, so they get this feedback, and they know how to do that. They stand there, and there's applause signs, and then there's producers. There's the warm-up guy that's literally telling people to clap. They're like, okay, explaining to the people, okay, when Jimmy comes out, I want a big round of applause. Let's practice this right now.
You know how much it costs to produce Jimmy Kimmel's show? I guarantee you it's tens and tens of millions. It could be as much as 100 million. I have no idea. You know how much Tucker's video cost? Nothing. You know how much Jimmy Kimmel, how many people he gets tuning in on an average night? Just last week, his average was, in the overall, meaning all viewers, 1.5 million. In the key demo, 236,000. Tucker would have been embarrassed to pull that on any night he was on the Fox News channel.
The sharpest attacks from his critics, however, zeroed in on his past. Kimmel, the man who now lectures America on morality every night, has a well-documented history of wearing blackface. He didn't just do it once, he did it repeatedly, most famously in his portrayal of the basketball star Karl Malone in a particularly cringeworthy skit where he appeared as Oprah Winfrey in a fat suit. As Kelly and others pointed out, in today's climate, if you're on the right and even mention that blackface used to be a thing, you risk getting fired. But if you're a darling of the left like Kimmel, your past transgressions are quietly swept under the rug by an adoring Hollywood crowd who will laugh and curry favor with you at the Oscars. This glaring double standard is the ammunition his critics have been waiting to use, and this lawsuit has put it all back in the spotlight. His moral authority, they argue, was built on a foundation of sand, and the tide is finally coming in.
And do you know who's going to be hosting the Academy Awards this year? Jimmy Kimmel. Do you know who's worn blackface repeatedly and spoken inner city sort of urban accent saying she needs to darn those socks? Jimmy Kimmel as Oprah, as a fat-suited, black-faced, darning socks Oprah. Now, if you are of the left, that's fine. If you are of the right and happen to just say, hey, people used to wear blackface and nobody freaked out about it, you get fired. Horrified after yours truly said in 2018 that people used to don dark makeup in order to imitate well-known black celebrities and it wasn't a big deal. Absolutely ate up the performance by Hollywood darling Mr. Kimmel, whose blackface costumes included his oft-repeated bit as basketball star Karl Malone. Tucker's numbers were 3 times what Jimmy Kimmel gets. And Tucker's little basement video that he did from clearly like his cabin that he broadcast out of Maine in literally has 21 million views. Okay? 21 million views. Whereas, as I point out, on ABC, a massive network that comes into your home for free, that you have to make no effort to find, at best, Jimmy Kimmel can get 1.5 million. He needs to have a little self-perspective before going out there and hurling these insults because he looks a little silly.
The criticism wasn't just about hypocrisy or weak jokes. It was about relevance. And in the world of media, the numbers don't lie. As Joe Rogan gleefully pointed out, Jimmy Kimmel's show, on a major network broadcast for free into every home in America, struggles to pull in a dismal 1.5 million viewers on a good night. Meanwhile, a single low-production video from Tucker Carlson, shot from his cabin in Maine and posted online, racked up a staggering 21 million views. The entire late-night television empire is visibly crumbling. The Daily Show, once a cultural powerhouse under Jon Stewart with over 2 million viewers, now scrapes by with a pathetic 366,000. Seth Meyers, another host who traded comedy for political sermons, doesn't even have 1 million viewers. Jimmy Fallon, who reportedly pulls in over $15 million a year, has seen his audience plummet from 2.3 million to just 1.3 million. These are dreadful, catastrophic numbers for networks that are pumping tens if not hundreds of millions of dollars into these polished productions. Kimmel was hurling insults from the deck of a sinking ship, pretending he was the brave captain of the Titanic, while completely ignoring the freezing water rising around his ankles.
The problem with that kind of stuff is it continues to go in the same direction where more and more things become forbidden and toxic, to the point where, you know, the Elon Musk joking around about my pronouns are prosecute Fauci. Jimmy Kimmel made a tweet back to him. He said, your pronouns are ass and hole, which is pretty funny. But then,
Did he really?
Yes. And so then I read that, and there was people saying, please don't joke about pronouns. It's transphobic to joke about pronouns. So they were chiding him.
But according to Rogan's brilliant analysis, this lawsuit was engineered to be far more damaging than just a financial blow. This was, in its essence, psychological warfare. Trump's team didn't just want to win a case in court, they wanted to rent space in Jimmy Kimmel's head for free, permanently. The ultimate goal was to have Jimmy sweating through his monologues, whispering to his writers about defamation laws, and waking up at 3 a.m. in a cold sweat, clutching a legal pad and frantically Googling courtroom dress codes. This wasn't just a legal drama playing out in public, it was a full-blown mental invasion, a strategic maneuver designed to dismantle his confidence from the inside out. The man who made a comfortable living mocking and belittling others was now being forced to live in constant paralyzing fear of his own words. And the irony was almost too perfect to script. The loudmouth school bully was finally whining and crying foul after the quiet kid in the back of the class finally stood up and punched him square in the mouth. Only this time, the quiet kid is a former president, and he's swinging with a $500 million legal hammer. What makes this entire situation even more brutal is the uncomfortable, unspoken truth about the world of late-night TV itself. Rogan, with his signature unfiltered style, ripped the curtain back on the whole manufactured process, exposing these shows as little more than slick, soulless productions. He described in detail how hosts like Kimmel don't just come up with witty commentary on the spot. They stand there and read flat, corny jokes off a teleprompter, jokes that were written for them by a team of well-paid writers. They play to a carefully selected, warmed-up studio audience that is literally told when to laugh and when to applaud by a producer holding up signs. It's not authentic humor. It's a carefully constructed illusion of comedy, a feedback loop of forced laughter and self-congratulation. In this light, Kimmel isn't some rebellious comedic genius. He's a network puppet with a Hollywood laugh track, and that laugh track has been getting quieter and quieter for years. In the end, the smoke began to clear and a stark picture emerged. The jester, who spent years safely tossing insults at the king from behind the castle walls, has been unceremoniously dragged into the royal court. Both Joe Rogan and Megyn Kelly, coming from two wildly different ends of the media spectrum, arrived at the same stunning conclusion. This lawsuit signals the end of an era. The age of smug, consequence-free celebrity activism, where you could say anything without fear of reprisal, is definitively over. Jimmy Kimmel finally got what he always wanted, Donald Trump's full undivided attention, but it didn't come in the form of a viral clip or a retaliatory tweet. It came wrapped in a thick manila envelope, loaded with legal threats and a 9-figure price tag. As this historic legal battle unfolds, one thing is terrifyingly clear. The $500 million lawsuit wasn't the final blow, it was just the warm-up act. The king didn't just roar, he's coming to collect.